we're headed into rivalry weekend, the last regular season week of the college football season. And we've given you our top 10 week in and week out. And those of y'all that have been around for a minute, you know what the Nothing But Ball poll is. The Nothing But Ball poll is not the AP poll. It's not based on analytics. It's not based on anything with the BCS or what coaches poll is. I mean, like, we have our own poll in here, and that is we watch college football. We give you our thoughts. So with that being said, we'll give you our top 10 here real quick. Starting at number 10, how about the Tigers? Eli Drinkwitz and company at Missouri. They are standing on business. Did so again against Florida, a gritty win. Classic letdown spot after throttling Tennessee. Play another scrappy Florida team, and you find a way to get it done in the final minutes. I mean, Harrison Mevis, dude, that dude is a unit. Absolute unit, lining up to kick field goals, taking care of business, and hit a game winner to beat Florida. Threw up the Gator chomp, too, afterwards. Just the disrespect. But hey, like we said on this show, winners do what they want. Missouri for us at number 10. If you have them higher, I'm not disagreeing. But I think Louisville at number 9 is a team to talk about now. Louisville, thing for me, I was impressed by the style of game they played to beat Miami. It was back and forth. It was you take a punch in the mouth and you play 4 really good quarters of football to find a way to get it done. Second week in a row now, we've seen Louisville do it. I think the character of this team is a lot stronger than most people would like to think about with them. They're going to be a threat now. When they play in the ACC title game against Florida State, that's going to be a real good football game. That is no pushover win for Florida State. Even with Jordan Travis, I think Louisville could give them a run for their money. But they're number 9 for us this week in the Nothing But Ball poll. The Brom squad keeping a good thing going in the top 10. We'll see where they are tonight. But at number 8, I got Texas. Was really encouraged to see Texas win the way they did against Iowa State. It was ugly in the first half. I think it was like 6-3 at half. Quinn Ewers finding his mojo, finding his rhythm. That's a tough place to win. To win in Ames, I mean, a lot of other teams would have walked in there. Old Texas teams would have walked in there and caught an L really quick. But they were, like I said, physical up front. I think they held Iowa State to like 15 yards rushing or something ridiculous like that. And then they pounded the rock even without Jonathan Brooks. Texas, it feels like now, has tread water for long enough to where they've gotten to shore. They got Quinn Ewers back. He's sort of in his rhythm. I mean, if they win the Big 12 with 1 loss, we'll talk about scenarios tomorrow, but you feel pretty good about where you stand right now if you're Texas. And I have them at 8. Yes, I have Bama ahead of them. But if Texas wins out, I think you feel like you've done all you can do at that point at least. At number 7, I got Alabama. And the reason why I have Texas at 8 and Bama at 7, a lot of people are saying, well, JD, they beat them in Tuscaloosa by double digits. Totally understand. That was week 2. The Nothing But Ball poll leans very heavily on the eye test. I haven't seen that team from week 2 for Texas show up in a minute now. They've looked good. Don't get it twisted. They've looked good, but I think Alabama has looked better. They are the hottest team in college football right now for my money. The identity they have, Jalen Milroe and his decisiveness playing quarterback for them. You got a team full of 5 stars, coached by Nick Saban, playing their best ball in November. That's no coincidence. I have them at 7. And their date with Georgia, if Alabama should handle business against Auburn this weekend in the Iron Bowl, that's going to be a blockbuster. That could be a pay-per-view event. So Bama at 7 for us this week in our Nothing But Ball poll. Now at number 6, you got Oregon. And Oregon could be higher. Like, we're all on the same page here. Oregon could be a lot higher than 6. I don't have an issue if you put Oregon at 5. Or heck, I don't have an issue if you put Oregon at 4 based on the eye test. I think they're playing that well. The reality of it is, for us, Washington is also playing really well. And you got a loss to Washington if you're Oregon. So you'll have your chance now. You'll have your title fight if you keep handling business. And if Washington keeps Washington's actually already punched their ticket. So if you go and meet Oregon, or excuse me, if we get Oregon-Washington in the Pac-12 title game and Oregon handles business there, then I think you put all the chatter to rest and you reassure everybody that you are who you think you are. Oregon at 6, handle business, get your title fight, get a knockout. Simple as that. Now, at 5, I got Florida State, and we said this on our show on Sunday. I say our video on Sunday, because we don't have a live show on Sunday. We got a ton of content for you, so that's another reason to be subscribed. I think Florida State's at 5, not because of anything with Jordan Travis, not because of anything Florida State's done wrong, just because of the team that's ahead of them and the effort they've made the last couple of weeks. I have them at 4, and we'll talk about Washington in a second. For Florida State, they have, I think, all the reason in the world for confidence. I think Tate Rodemaker's capable, and I think this roster in itself in Tallahassee is built to win out. Like, as much as it hurts to lose Jordan Travis, Florida State should, keyword should, very dangerous word in college football, should win every game they have ahead of them. So I have Florida State at 5, and if they go and if they do win out and they do make the college, if they are undefeated on Selection Sunday as an undefeated ACC champ, they're not getting left out. I didn't even know that was a thought or a concern until I woke up and looked at Twitter yesterday. Like, they're not getting left out. So make sure we're all on the same page there. Florida State, very much so, controls their own destiny. You hate losing Jordan Travis, but you control your own destiny if you're Florida State. At number 4, you got Washington. Like, Washington, I said it on Sunday as well. Like, we got to put some respect on Washington's name now. Because every single week, we're like, hey, is this the week? We cried wolf every single week. And every single week, Washington wins. So Washington, if they're undefeated in the Pac-12 champion, they will be in the college football playoff. Rome Odunze, I'm convinced he is just, like a baby with oil all over him and just hard to cover, hard to put covers on. Like, he is unreal on the outside for them. And Michael Penix Jr., when he's on, like, Washington is as good as anybody in the country. So Washington is at number 4 for us this week. Ohio State's at 3. Now, the committee, I would imagine, will put Ohio State at 2 tonight. I don't think that's wrong based on their resume. Based on the eye test, I think that Ohio State is probably the 3rd best team in the country. Now, the beautiful part about it is we get to see this upcoming weekend where they stack up next to Michigan, because I have Michigan at 2. So I kind of want to talk about Michigan and Ohio State together. Michigan has just been so dominant. It's hard for me to not put them at 2. And with the nature of last week's game, a lot of people are going to say, well, JD, they didn't look great against Maryland. There was so much weird baked into that game against Maryland. I'm actually kind of impressed the way that Michigan handled business. They weren't on the money against that Maryland defense. They weren't great throwing the football downfield. But to the exact same token, like, isn't that what good football teams do? Weird spot, let down, look ahead, coach fired, coach suspended. Doesn't matter. You still find a way to win the football game. When you don't have it, you have it. I thought that was an impressive thing by Michigan. So Ohio State, they're at 3. I like them. I don't love them as much as Michigan. I don't think they're quite as complete as Michigan is based on what they have at quarterback. That's kind of the differentiating factor for me. But Ohio State, no way around it. Still the best resume in the country. I just like Michigan a little bit better. Now, number 1, we got Georgia. And the thing with Georgia, man, like, they're peaking at the right time. They are, I think, very much so lacking weaknesses. In Carson Beck, there's a part of his brain called the amygdala, which is supposed to, I think, process fear, and it's supposed to, like, help you, process pressure. I don't think that works for Carson Beck. I think for whatever reason, the amygdala in Carson Beck's brain just doesn't process pressure. He doesn't feel pressure. Every single week, the spot gets bigger. Every single week, Georgia seems to play better. So Georgia's at number 1. I expect them to continue to play well. They got Georgia Tech this week. Surprise, surprise, we got Georgia winning that football game. And that game in Atlanta now against Alabama, like I said, that will be that'll be a blockbuster. So keep an eye on the socials to see where we're headed that weekend. But Georgia's at 1. So to recap it for you, Missouri at 10, Louisville at 9, Texas at 8, Bama at 7. I respect and understand the frustration when it comes to the head-to-head. Bama's been playing better as of late. So we got Bama at 7. Washington is at 4, but Florida State's at 5. You could flip-flop those two. I'd have no issue with it. Florida State, nothing to do with Jordan Travis. They're at 5. Washington, they're at 4 because of how well they've played the last couple of weeks. Some nice resume-boosting wins, most notably what Washington did at Oregon State. So Washington's at 4. Ohio State at 3, Michigan at 2. We'll find out this week where they fall. And Georgia is number 1 for us in the nothing but ball poll going into rivalry weekend. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.